Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something huge, something that's happening all around us, often invisibly, the data breach epidemic. We're going to get into why our most personal info is so at risk, and, more importantly, what the future of protecting it actually looks like. So, let's just kick things off with a number. A really big one. 192.7 million. Now, what is that? Well, that's the number of people who are hit by a single data breach, just one, in the healthcare world. Think about that. One attack, and the shockwaves are just enormous. And look, that number? It's not some random fluke. It's a sign of a much bigger, much scarier trend. We are literally living through a record-breaking tidal wave of cyberattacks, and they're scooping up the sensitive data of millions and millions of people.
Okay, so to really get a feel for this, let's zoom in on just one state, North Carolina. Take a look at these two charts. The one on the left, that's the number of breaches, and you can see it's just been climbing and climbing, hitting a new peak. But the chart on the right? Wow, that's the human side of it. That huge purple spike? That's almost 6.7 million people in that one state affected in a single year. The scale here is just off the charts, and it's only getting bigger.
So you gotta wonder, how are they graying in? Well, the old classics are still the most common, hacking and phishing. You know, those tricky emails, the shady links. But there's a tactic that's really on the rise, and it's aggressive. I'm talking about ransomware. Attacks using it have jumped almost 50% in just the last year alone.
And this ransomware? It's become the weapon of choice for a lot of these cybercriminals. The best way to think about it is like digital kidnapping. They use this nasty software to encrypt or lock up a company's most important files and systems. And then they demand a huge ransom payment to give them back the keys.
Okay, so all of this brings us to the main battleground in this whole fight, healthcare. It's not a coincidence that it's become the #1 target. There are some very, very specific reasons why. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. See, our medical records, they're not just about whether you have a cold. They are a gold mine. They've got everything an identity thief could ever want. Social security numbers, addresses, insurance info, the whole shebang. A complete profile of you. That's why a single health record is worth so much more on the dark web than just a stolen credit card number.
So what makes healthcare this perfect storm of vulnerability? Well, it really boils down to a few things. First, like we just said, the data is just so valuable. That's your PHI and PII. Second, the systems they're running are literally life or death. You can't just shut them down. Third, historically, they just haven't invested enough in security. And finally, you got this massive, sprawling network of interconnected devices, everything from IV pumps to pacemakers, and every single one is a potential way in for a hacker. And if you want a real-world example of just how bad this can get, look no further than the Change Healthcare breach. This timeline is just jaw-dropping. It kicks off in February 2024. By October, we learn it hit 100 million people. That's nearly a third of the entire US population. But wait, it gets worse. By January 2025, that number explodes to over 190 million. For weeks, this single attack completely crippled pharmacies and doctors' offices all across the country.
And the cost? Oh, the cost is just mind-boggling. United Health Group thinks this one attack is going to cost them more than $3 billion. And that's not even the final number. It's still going up.
But you know what? The scariest part isn't the money. Not even close. It's what happens when a doctor can't pull up your medical history, or a pharmacist can't see your allergies. They're essentially flying blind. And that can lead to absolutely tragic medical errors. And get this, medical errors are already the third leading cause of death in the US. So yeah, this isn't just about stolen data. This is about keeping people safe.
Okay, so after all that doom and gloom, you're probably asking, what can we actually do about it? How do we fight back? Well, let's open up the playbook and start with the stuff that can be done right this second by the big organizations and, by us. So on the big federal level, the main line of defense is something called the HIPAA security rule. Basically, it's the law that says any company handling your health info has to have strong security in place. That means they need to be constantly looking for weak spots, doing these risk assessments, and fixing them before the bad guys find them.
And here's the good news. We are not helpless in all of this. For instance, after that huge PowerSchool breach that hit tons of students, parents got a really clear step-by-step guide. You can actually put a security freeze on your kid's credit. It's a huge pain for identity thieves trying to open new accounts. And right here, we've got the exact steps for you. Who to call, what papers you'll need, the whole thing.
And this right here, this is for every single one of us. This is basic digital self-defense. It's all about building better habits. Things like using strong, different passwords for everything, turning on multi-factor authentication wherever you can, and just being super suspicious of any random email you get. Think of every single item on this checklist as another lock on your digital front door.
But here's the thing. The basics aren't enough anymore. The threats are getting smarter, so our defenses have to get smarter too. The old way of thinking about cybersecurity is just, well, it's broken. We're in the middle of a huge philosophical shift, a move away from the old, outdated ways of doing things.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way versus the new way. For years, security was all about this castle and moat idea. You build a huge wall, a big perimeter, and you assume anyone who's already inside is a good guy. But what's the problem with that? Well, as soon as one bad guy gets over that wall, they can run wild inside. So the new model, Zero Trust, it completely flips that on its head. The motto is simple: never trust, always verify. It starts by assuming a breach could happen at any moment, and it forces everyone and everything to prove who they are every single time they try to access something, no matter where they are.
And it's not just a new mindset. It's being backed up by some seriously powerful new tech. Take blockchain, for example. Yeah, the same technology that powers cryptocurrencies. It offers a totally new way to handle our health records. Imagine a secure, digital record book that can't be secretly changed. That could put control of our data right back where it belongs, in our hands. It's a potential game changer for privacy.
And look, this isn't just some fancy idea on a whiteboard. It actually works, and we have the data to prove it. A recent study found that companies using a zero-trust approach had 75% fewer security incidents. And get this, they slashed their financial losses from attacks by a whopping 78%. I mean, the numbers really do speak for themselves.
So all of this leaves us with a really big question, right? As our lives get more and more plugged in, our schools, our cars, our hospitals, everything, is the whole idea of a safe internal network just gone? Is this new way of thinking, this constant vigilance of never trust, always verify, is that our only real path forward to stay safe?